Tension gripped Kenya's capital, Nairobi, on Monday as police fired tear gas and water cannon to disperse hundreds of protesters. A Reuters reporter witnessed police open fire on a crowd of advancing protesters. One man was subsequently seen lying motionless on the road with a bloody wound. A police spokesperson did not immediately respond to a request for comment. The clashes marked the 35th anniversary of pro-democracy rallies known as Saba Saba, Swahili for 7-7, commemorating July 7, 1990, that called for a shift to multi-party democracy. Authorities locked down major roads and restricted vehicle traffic, leaving normally bustling streets deserted except for determined demonstrators on foot. Most schools and at least one shopping mall remained closed in anticipation of unrest. This year's rally follows a wave of youth-led protests in June, which began over tax hikes.
Welcome to Stand Up Africa, where we break down real stories, real news, and real voices from across the continent. If you care about Africa's future, want to stay informed, and hear what mainstream media often misses, you're in the right place. Hit that subscribe button and join a growing community that stands up for truth, context, and African perspective. Disclaimer: the content on this channel is for informational and educational use only. We use credible public sources and verified facts to bring you context and clarity. Stand Up Africa does not promote hate, misinformation, or political bias. Our mission is to keep you informed, responsibly and respectfully.
But quickly widened to include anger over corruption, police violence, and the mysterious disappearances of government critics. Fatma Luyundi, one of the demonstrators, says many families are still searching for loved ones.
Going back home is not going to help us. Our children are being abducted and killed. Parents are looking for their children, but they cannot locate them.
Kenya's interior minister said the government was committed to protecting life and property.
It was riots, chaos, and anarchy.
Last month, Kipchumba Murkomen described the protests as, quote, terrorism disguised as dissent.
We are peaceful! We are peaceful!
The recent death of teacher and blogger Albert Ojwang in police custody has fueled public anger. Prosecutors approved murder charges against 6 people, including 3 police officers, over Ojwang's death. All 6 suspects pleaded not guilty. The government-funded Kenya National Commission on Human Rights reported 19 deaths nationwide during demonstrations on June 25th.
Nairobi on fire. Police and protesters clash in the heart of Kenya. Tear gas and turmoil have engulfed the Kenyan capital, Nairobi, as anti-government protests descended into chaos. The situation is spiraling out of control. Let's get into it. But save this video for future reference and share it with as many people as possible. In a desperate bid to restore order, Kenyan authorities have shut down the internet, but that hasn't stopped protesters from taking to the streets. They are fed up with corruption and high taxes, and things are getting violent. We've got all the breaking details for you right here. Welcome back. It's me. And first up on breaking, the human drama unfolding in Nairobi is nothing short of heartbreaking. At least 11 people have lost their lives in these ongoing protests, casting a shadow over the nation's quest for change. As we delve deeper into this chaotic situation, our thoughts and prayers go out to the families affected by this violence. It's a stark reminder of the human cost of unrest. The roots of this crisis can be traced back to last year when demonstrations erupted over proposed tax hikes. But the situation has since escalated into a broader movement demanding improved governance and greater police accountability. The core issues driving the protests include calls for electoral reforms, efforts to curb runaway corruption, and a reduction in the high cost of living. Additionally, there's a demand for the release of opposition leader Raila Odinga, who was arrested earlier this month in connection with the protests. Adding another layer of complexity to this volatile mix is the presence of the International Criminal Court, ICC, and its ongoing investigations into alleged crimes committed during the 2007 post-election violence. The ICC's involvement has both heightened tensions and raised questions about the broader implications of international justice. As the situation continues to escalate, it's crucial to understand the historical context that has led to this point of contention. In recent years, Kenya has faced significant challenges related to corruption, inequality, and political tensions. These issues have fueled public discontent, which has now boiled over into large-scale protests. The government's response to the protests has been met with mixed reactions. While some have praised the authorities for trying to maintain order, others have criticized what they see as heavy-handed tactics. This complex web of issues and responses has created a tinderbox of emotions, making it all the more vital for all parties involved to seek peaceful and constructive solutions. But why is the protest leader, Raila Odinga, demanding fresh elections? Well, his stance seems to stem from a lack of trust in the current government and electoral commission. Odinga believes that the upcoming elections may not be free or fair and that the current regime might manipulate the results to stay in power. He argues that without a credible electoral process, democracy cannot thrive and true representation of the people will be impossible. Therefore, he is advocating for new elections as a way to ensure that the voice of the people is heard and that Kenya can move forward with a government that genuinely reflects the will of its citizens. However, it is important to note that this perspective is not universally shared, and there are various political factions with different viewpoints on how to address Kenya's challenges and whether new elections are truly the best path forward. But let's talk about the police brutality that's been witnessed during these protests. It is a distressing aspect of the situation on the ground, and it raises serious concerns about the use of excessive force. When we examine the tactics employed by law enforcement, it becomes apparent that there's a need for restraint and respect for fundamental rights. The images of tear gas and running battles between protesters and police are deeply troubling. It's essential that law enforcement officials act with professionalism and avoid the use of unnecessary force. The excessive use of tear gas and the reported instances of police brutality are not only counterproductive, but also a violation of the rights of the citizens they are supposed to protect. This level of police brutality not only undermines the efforts to maintain peace and order, but also erodes the trust between law enforcement and the communities they serve. Building a society based on the rule of law and human rights requires a police force that acts with integrity and respects the rights of all citizens. And let's shift our attention to the impact of the unrest on ordinary Kenyans. How are they coping with this turmoil? The situation on the ground paints a picture of hardship and struggle. As businesses shutter their doors and transportation networks grind to a halt, ordinary Kenyans are bearing the brunt of this unrest. The economic impact is particularly concerning as livelihoods are disrupted and financial losses mount. It's heartbreaking to witness the effects on families, individuals, and the overall community. Amidst this turmoil, healthcare facilities are facing challenges as well. The ongoing violence and disruptions are hindering access to essential medical services. This poses a grave risk to the health and well-being of the population, especially in light of the post-COVID recovery. It is crucial for all parties involved to recognize the immense suffering this unrest is causing and to work towards finding a swift and peaceful resolution. The human cost of this conflict goes beyond statistics, and it is essential to amplify the voices and stories of those affected. But now let's focus on the role of regional and international actors in this crisis. As the situation in Nairobi continues to deteriorate, the eyes of the world are on Kenya. The international community is closely monitoring the developments and urging all parties to exercise restraint. Regional leaders are also reaching out to Kenya to offer support and facilitate dialogue. It is crucial for these external actors to play a constructive role in de-escalating the situation and promoting peaceful resolutions. However, it's equally important for Kenya to assert its sovereignty and determine its own path forward. Dialogue and diplomacy should be encouraged as means to resolve differences and find common ground. The goal should be to address the root causes of the unrest and work towards a more stable and prosperous future for Kenya. But what are the potential consequences if this crisis is not addressed effectively? The ongoing unrest in Nairobi is not just a domestic issue. It has the potential to destabilize the region. If left unchecked, the violence and instability could spill over into neighboring countries, creating a wider security threat. Additionally, the economic repercussions could reverberate throughout East Africa, affecting businesses and investments. Moreover, the damage to Kenya's reputation as a regional hub for trade and tourism could have long-lasting consequences. It's imperative that the international community, regional organizations, and all relevant stakeholders work collectively to support Kenya in finding a peaceful resolution to this crisis before it escalates further. So where do we go from here? The path forward requires a concerted effort from all segments of Kenyan society. Meaningful dialogue between the government and opposition leaders is crucial to address the grievances that have fueled the protests. It's essential to create an environment conducive to open and honest conversations that lead to tangible solutions. This dialogue should focus on key areas such as electoral reforms, measures to combat corruption, and strategies to alleviate the cost of living crisis. Furthermore, the government must commit to investigating allegations of police brutality and holding those responsible to account. Ensuring justice and accountability is vital to restoring trust between law enforcement and the communities they serve. But ultimately, the people of Kenya have shown remarkable resilience and a strong desire for positive change. Their courage and determination should be at the forefront of any efforts to address the challenges facing their nation. It's time for Kenya to come together, to bridge the divides and forge a path toward a brighter future. Let's hope that wisdom, restraint, and a commitment to justice prevail in the days ahead. Thank you for joining us today. If you found this video insightful, please give it a like and subscribe to our channel for more in-depth coverage of global events. Stay informed, engage in thoughtful discussions, and be part of our community. And one last thing, as we wrap up, remember the human element at the heart of this crisis. The people of Kenya, especially those directly affected by the violence, are counting on the world's attention and empathy. Let's ensure that their voices are heard and that their stories contribute to a better, more peaceful tomorrow. Stay safe. Thank you for watching.
That's the latest on this developing story. Thank you for staying with us here on Stand Up Africa. We'll continue to follow the updates and bring you verified information as it unfolds. For more news that matters to Africa and stories that speak for us, make sure to subscribe, share, and stay informed. Until next time, stay safe and stay aware.